you're breaking the ribs.
Hey, thanks for checking in to Sambo's Place. Glad to see you back here. I want to put a disclosure and a disclaimer on this video before we even start. This video is not for the seasoned backyard expert. It's not for the pit master. It's not for the experts in the rib arena, okay? I want to put that out there right now. So if you're that type of person, swipe delete, go in the house, check out Netflix, whatever, catch up on House of Dragons, Love Island, whatever, go inside, make some Hawk Tuah memes. This video is not for you, okay? This video is for the average guy or the average person who wants to take their backyard barbecuing experience, maybe dip their toes into the pellet grill smoker arena, maybe dip their toes into the Weber SearWood arena, and they want to know if the average person can turn out some really good ribs. Well, I'm gonna put another disclaimer on this video for you. I haven't made ribs in over 10 years. Our kids are grown up. We don't entertain large groups anymore. Ribs are really not something on the request list in Sambo's backyard, but Sambo wanted to make some ribs, and Sambo forgot how to make ribs, and Sambo made some mistakes when he was making these ribs. But the good news is that you could have a comedy of errors in the kitchen, okay, and still turn out some fantastic ribs on this Weber SearWood XL. I mean, I had some problems. I had the ribs at the right temperature. I had the problems with the spoon method, getting the membrane off. I forgot to trim here and there. The good news is the ribs turned out incredible. My wife was asking for more immediately. We did 3 hours with the meat up. We wrapped, we did the wrap method. We did 2 hours, crutched back on, then we unwrapped and we did one last half hour. You're gonna see it. And I want to point out to you also is that I'm a heat guy, I'm a spice guy. Hey, bring it till my forehead sweats. However, my wife isn't, and my parents, who I sometimes give all of my extra to when I make big cooks, they're not spice people either. So I had to come up with a barbecue sauce that made everyone happy. And I got a great, well-balanced, sweet and tangy bourbon peach barbecue sauce here. You want to try it because it turned out super sticky, super tangy, super sweet, super fantastic. In fact, my parents and my wife were saying, can you just make this sauce that we could put on other things? So check out the sauce recipe. Check out how these ribs turned out on the SearWood XL. We use the lower rack system this time, which I think is better, even though we don't get the pan underneath to catch the grease and the sludge. Hey, you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. So let's go into the kitchen. Let's get our hands dirty. Let's see how this cook turned out. We got 6.6 pounds of St. Louis style pork ribs. They're going on the SearWood. Thanks for checking in. Let's get it done. So here I am struggling with the membranes, and the best part of this is that I go out in the garage to get my black gloves and I have one left. So I'm with one black glove here. Now, we did a binder on these ribs, and this time I used French's honey mustard to bind on both sides of the ribs. For my own rubs, I order all of my spices from bulkfoods.com. We used a half a cup of brown sugar. We used a tablespoon of cracked black pepper, a tablespoon of hickory smoked sea salt, a tablespoon of yellow mustard powder, a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of molasses powder, a tablespoon of granulated garlic powder, and a tablespoon of smoked paprika.
Get a fire going!
White cran peach ocean spray. Every half hour we're going to spritz these down with the same white cranberry peach juice. So for the barbecue sauce recipe, I started out with 8 ounces of tomato sauce, 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, a 1/2 cup of peach preserves, a little more smoked sea salt, a little more garlic powder, a little more granulated onion powder. We got 2 tablespoons of that W sauce. We got a 1/4 cup of honey, and we're gonna mix that up thoroughly and get that into the sauce pot. Once it starts to simmer in the sauce pot, we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of Buffalo Trace or any of your favorite bourbons out there, and we're gonna add a 1/3 cup of ketchup. Meanwhile, while it's simmering, we got the cornbread in the oven. We're gonna pop that out for some extra comfort with our ribs as well. After being on the smoker for 3 hours, meat side up, we're gonna bring it in the house and we're gonna crutch it in foil. We're gonna lay down some butter, some brown sugar, some honey, add the ribs on top of the ribs with more butter, more brown sugar, more honey. We're gonna repeat with the second wrap, and we're gonna wrap this up tight like a swaddled newborn. Get these back on the smoker for another 2 hours. This time we're going meat side down. The bourbon peach barbecue sauce. We're gonna slather these up real good.
Oh, you gotta give him that Hawk Tuah and spit on that thing.
Okay, we are mopped. We are good to go. We're gonna bump the temp to 275. And we're rolling. So after 3 hours on the smoker, 2 hours wrapped, and a half an hour after they've been mopped, here we go. I'm not good at cutting these. Get one of these up to the camera and take a look here. Haven't made ribs in a long time, but tell you what, the meat is just falling off of the bone. So let's put some closure to these ribs. You know, in my classroom, I hear this from my students all the time. They're like, oh, Mr. B, I can't do it. Oh, Mr. B, I suck at this. And I tell them, of course you can't do it. Of course you suck at it, because you haven't done it yet. You haven't tried, and you're gonna suck at it, and you're not gonna be good at it until you do it over and over and over again. And that gets back to my muscle memory. So applying that to these ribs, some muscle memory came back. I remembered what I did. Now, I just got off the phone with my wife, and she says, hey, can we have ribs again this weekend? So I know exactly what I'm gonna need to do to tweak things. And I bet you I'm gonna be a little bit better at doing the things that required some less thought in the kitchen, and I'm not gonna make some errors like I did the last time. But listen, I wanna thank all of you for taking the time to watch Sambo's videos, joining us, chiming in with the comments and everything. I enjoy talking to you folks out there. Hey, thanks again for checking in. Sambo out.